Hello, lovely people, and welcome to another Galactic Mayan astrology report. So, this is a report for Friday, the 16th of August. Put a little cap on my webcam. Through the Galactic Mayan calendar, and we're moving into a new wave spell. So, yeah, we are completing the second 20-day process because we're cycling through your 20 archetypes all the time. And moving into the third column on the second day of this 13-day process. But as you know, we journey on this channel through the 13-day wave spell processes. And these are like the archetypal journeys, these 13-day journeys that we go through with each of the 20 archetypes. I've got very excitable children downstairs. So if you hear shrieks, it's not that I'm holding anyone captive, it's joyful screeches. So yes, my loves, here we are. Full times, really feeling that summer fullness and yeah, kind of this, it feels like everyone's kind of been in the underworld, going through their initiations whilst also having this like peak summer experience of the richness and the harvest and the doing. And I know that I've really been journeying that and yeah. It's a big time, man. It's a big time. It's a full time. And I'm running, this is like the third week of the holiday club that I'm running with teenagers. And it's so mint. Like every day we get between 20 and 30 teenagers. Quite a few of them are coming every day. And we're just like hanging out, having fun. And it's just giving them a space for youth culture. And this is kind of linked to what I'm going to speak into for the wave spell. So the 13-day process that begins on Friday the 16th is the energy of yellow sun. So it's a yellow sign. Oh, I've realised as well, I don't know if it's doing it now. Whenever I sit in this place in my house, I'm sat on my like computer chair and it's squeaky as fuck. So if ever you hear the creaks and the squeaks, it is a chair. So yeah, yellow sun, yellow energy. Yellow is about the flowering, the blossoming, the opening, and the bringing to light. And that's also really what this archetype of the sun is about. So the yellow sun energy is this process of highlighting what it is that needs to be seen. It's an archetype that supports us to get real, essentially. And it's about this kind of, the twofold journey of shadow work and self-love. The two are kind of really interlinked, and that's what yellow sun is. You can kind of, this is the Zolkin behind me, and on this side of it, you can see all the oh, it's hard to work with a mirror. All the 20 archetypes running down. Yellow sun is the final of the 20 archetypes, and what that means is it's the it's about integration. It's got a little bit of everything within it because it's the sun, it's the light, it's the final. And yeah, the essence of the yellow sun is about integration. Like, how do we integrate? Oops, that's my alarm telling me to do this video. I'm into cramps so much at the moment. It's very early morning. So where was I? Yeah, so yellow sun is about the integration of all aspects of us, and I think sometimes it's so easy for us to lean into the aspects of us that it's almost like when we start on this path, there are elements of us that's like the cream on top that's really easy to access, and it's just there, and it's like, oh, this is amazing, this is who I am, this is my soul calling, these are my gifts, woo. But then there's like all the gnarly stuff underneath that we haven't been able to integrate, aspects of us that try to get their needs met in ways that are not super loving to ourselves or other people. And what we do with that is we kind of go, nope, 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 nope. And then what we're doing is pushing it further and further and deeper into the shadow. And my partner and I have been journeying some of this energy around, yeah, like, we're working with teenage boys and yeah, the energy of masculine sexuality, really, and just really witnessing, some of our kids, a lot of our kids are like preteen into teenagehood, and we're kind of getting this like front row seat because we're allowing these culture to unfold. When people start fancying each other and how that energy kind of begins to manifest, but already through the distortions of society, as it begins to come up, it's already going in really weird, wonky directions. And then not having that support to be able to to journey it consciously. And the kind of piece that we ended up sat in the other night was kind of a bit of a revelation of so we've got this process of making our subconscious conscious, our like mental consciousness aspect, but then there's also the journey of making the sexuality conscious, so it's not just monkey mind or sex drive. It's like both pieces, we've got this journey of like bringing them both to light. And when we do that, what's happened a lot of the time with male sexuality is because the force is so strong, and I've spoken. I was lucky enough to have, one of my male best mates when I was growing up, was a gay guy, and we could have conversations in ways that I couldn't really have with a straight man because we could go into a realm that wasn't in any way reflected or affected by our connection. And I remember him saying it's like it takes over his being, or it used to when we were younger. And it's just, yeah, really interesting to feel that. And then what happens with that is then it's like, no, we can't look at that. Sometimes it happens and that's all right. And it's in this safe space. But actually the process is about, okay, how the fuck do you stay conscious in that as opposed to being taken over by it? And that's exactly the same energy as our shadow patterns, and the other aspects of, but when we're not able to look at it, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper into the subconscious. And this is the process of yellow sun. Like, how can we allow ourselves to become conscious in the pattern? And, one of the big pieces within that, is it's like that really interesting edge between shame and self-love. I really feel that non-toxic shame, there is toxic shame too, but there is an element of when we're doing shadow work, shame is our guide in a way. It's like if it makes you feel icky, you've found the door. And then the process is about how can you allow that ick and that shame to begin to be loved? How can you love that element? Because I think sometimes what happens is we try and go into the like, oh, I did that thing and that thing happened without descending into the feeling. We've just had Blue Hand Wavespell, which is all about the emotional evolution and the dropping into emotions. So it's like we can kind of cognitively see the thing, but not feel the thing. And then it's like, I love myself still, just like throwing all this fucking shit on it. I just still love myself. Everything's wonderful. I'm great. Woo. And it's like, try go into the moment where you feel like you want to fucking die because of the cripplingness of the shame, let all the defense patterns run their course and then land in that bottom of like, oh fuck. And then from there, that's when the love begins. That's when the real work begins. So really, with conscious evolution and sexual evolution, I'm going to bring those both things together now. It is, it's a deepening, slowing process. So with yellow sun, it's about the illumination of what's been hidden and the integration that follows that illumination. In essence, shadow work. And I know, I find it so interesting. Many people that have got yellow sun placement in their galactic mind astrology end up working with like internal family systems, which is this incredible modality, and it's a perspective of the psyche that when something happens traumatically, that part of us gets suppressed, and then all these new parts of us get created. And the journey of internal family systems is like building the self energy, the collective self energy, to be able to reintegrate those parts so that we can become a more conscious, integrated human. And that's the process of yellow sun. Now, the yellow sun also links into Christ consciousness. We've got this like many people feel, the story of Jesus was the story of, the sun, um, and like the solstice energy. And regardless of what you feel about it, the Christ energy is the Christ consciousness energy, and it's this again, this process of unconditional love. But I feel like another thing that we've been talking about doing recently is like a little skit about enlightenment or dissociation. So just like replacing all the like language around enlightenment to be dissociation, because I feel a lot of the time that is what's happening. It's kind of, it's not the symptoms of dissociation and the qualities of enlightenment are very fucking similar. And I really feel like the feminine descent energy is what's required from the human being, particularly at this time. It's like we've all got this really intense pain body that hasn't really been addressed for quite a few generations, that's thick and it's heavy and it's very deeply programmed. And unless we're going into that and reprogramming it, and shed it, all we're doing is dissociating. It's like, yeah, okay, come out of your body and yeah, everything's sound and yeah, you're in collective consciousness and yeah, it's buzzing. But when you actually go back into your body, you're fucked. So the yellow sun invites us to be bringing things to light. So in terms of, the journey of this 13 days, you may have an opportunity simply to be integrating the learning of the year. We're kind of coming to the end of the wheel of the year, the Celtic wheel of the year. And in the hemisphere of the world that I live in, I think most of you live in, because it seems to be a pretty UK crew that I connect with, but there are many other magical beings across the world that do connect into. But yeah, where I am, we've kind of got the peak sun at the moment, and we're going back down now. Like, we've had the longest day of the year, and we're going back down into. So it may be that this 13 days is simply an integration of what has been, your year of coming out of the dark of the winter into the peak of the summer, and all of the learning as you've kind of drawn yourself out of the underworld before we now go back in again. But it also might be that there are things that come up that you would rather not own and look at. And, I know that within me, there's been many things, and I think now being in a relationship that we are attempting to navigate consciously, yeah, you just get to see it so clearly and so fast, and there's almost no escape. Whereas like when I was a single person wandering around, I could, which I spent most of my life being, I could quite easily, I don't know, just like detach from the reflection, detach from the person, like, nope, thanks, see ya, I'm off. Whereas now it's like, oh, like this love is so strong that this person is important and what they're bringing is really key. But it's so hard, and it's this, we are facing death every time that we do this shadow work. It's, these are the aspects of us, because we need love to survive, and these are the aspects of us that in the first place didn't get love, but then grew in ways that have not been loving to others. And it's so challenging for us to sit with that. And I think this is why we manifest collectively these figures that we deem are evil, to project our inner, not very loving aspects onto. It's so much easier to be like, that's what bad is, and I'm not that. Whereas actually none of it's bad, it's just misguided. But in order to really take the medicine, we really have to sit into like, ooh, ouch. I have not been in my most pure, loving expression in that connection, in that moment. And if we could all fucking do that, we'd diffuse this bloody situation on planet Earth a lot quicker. But it's so hard. And also, you know, and this is what's happening. It's like humans as a general are not doing the work. So all this stuff is in the subconscious, which means it's in the collective unconscious. So then it keeps having to fucking explode everywhere with like wars and all this fucking awful shit that's happening everywhere because people aren't just descending into their own process and accepting they're in a knobhead. And I think, you know, if you if Yellow Sun is anything, it's about being able to really sit with and befriend our inner knobhead and be like, yo, I totally get you. And this is what's been really cool about the work that I'm doing at the moment. And I know that it's like it's so aligned to my vibe. Because you know, the majority of the young people that we're working with have been like kicked out of school or looked after, or they've got big behavioral integrity and can be little knobheads. But being like working with them is really supporting me to work with my teenager because my teenage self is pretty fucking violent, you know. I see red, like that part of me can see red, and I never beat anyone up or anything like that, but the aggression, you know, in terms of fight, flight, freeze, fawn, I used to be a fawner. I like thawed out of the fawning and then became a fighter. And a lot of these young people that I'm working with are fighters, you know, and like, I've been called a fucking bitch as they've like walked and slammed the door because they've had three strikes and they gotta go. But seeing and witnessing, because then every day when they come back, depending on the severity of the action, clean slate, we're chilling, we're loving one another, and just seeing what's happening with these young people as they're being loved is just such a perfect reflection for me of what we can do with our internal world. Whilst we're denying that that's a part of us, we cannot build that loving relationship that then brings maybe a different behavior on the outside. But when we can allow that, like, okay, that energy needed to move, but it wasn't okay for that to hit anybody else or to affect anybody else or to hit you yourself, like that needs to not happen, but it's going to be a process. But instead of punishing internal world or external people, you, because of it, I'm going to love you through it. I'm going to fucking love you through it, you know, because all it is a misguided call for love. And this is the beauty of shadow work. This is the beauty of inner work. This is the beauty of the yellow sun process. It's like once we can simultaneously descend into the shame and responsibility alongside being able to meet and love ourselves there, we are like that is the richest evolutionary nectar that we could possibly be existing in. The shame and responsibility, because of how the manifestations of our inner world affect, and loving and meeting those parts of us because that's all they're wanting. And so often we like look outside, but actually what they want is it from us. So I hope that you have a wonderful yellow sun process. And I've got like we're in the middle of the third week and I've got one more week. So I think by the time that I do another Wavespell video, I might be in Glastonbury. I'm having a few days in Glastonbury. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. I'm going to be MIA. I said it and then I'm like, I don't want anyone to know that I'm going to be there. Fuck. But it came out of my mouth. I'll send you some vibes from there, but I will be very anonymous. Just want some time with spirit, man. And yeah, just some time to recharge because this is another thing of recognition recently. It's like, you know, to kind of do this work, it feels like now it's like a process of I've kind of incarnated into a different life, following living a different chapter, a different incarnation within this lifetime. And the density of the country and like the kind of the people that I'm working with, the young people that I'm working with, you know, they've all got huge stories and it's all linked to fucking poverty. But it's heavy, you know, it's so fulfilling and it's so wonderful, but it's heavy. So yeah, this kind of recognition and remembrance that if we are doing on the ground work like this, it's so key that we go and refuel energetically in whatever and wherever, you know, however we need to do that. And for me, like in this land, it's always Glastonbury. Like Glastonbury exists in the vibration that feels like home for me, where my being can like rest and reconnect and recalibrate. So yeah, I guess that's just an invitation again for anybody that is working in the third dimension. Essentially, if your service is in the third dimension, make sure that you are having the regular replenishment energetically that you need. And sometimes that means like going somewhere to like just totally recharge and refuel and then return. So I'm sending you so much love. And yeah, I'll send you some vibes from Glasgow.